I'm going to pull this up on my phone. What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Give it a second for people to pop burn. I also want to see if it's working. Oh, we're live. What's up, guys? Say hey if you're here. Happy Monday. Happy day 7 of the 90-day Glow Up Your Life Challenge. Crazy. We're already on day 7. Whole weekend. Okay, I think I should be able to see comments this way. I'm really excited for today's conversation. Today, we're going to talk about comparing ourselves to other people. And let me know in the comments if you guys are live or catching the replay. Let me know if you struggle with comparison. Let me know if that's something that you deal with on a daily basis or, situationally you notice it. And if you're jumping on live, say hi. I'm not, these comments, I don't know what happens here. Let me actually try. Say hi. Let me see if that pops up. So my comment pops up for me. I can't see comments. I don't know what's going on. If anybody's a Facebook wizard, I've tried to do it in different browsers. I've tried to delete it and re-upload it. I don't know what's going on. I should be able to see comments in the replay though. But anyway, enough of the technology. Let's get into today's conversation. Comparison to other people. The biggest thing that I want you to understand when it comes to comparison, if you guys have a pen and paper in front of you or you have your phone, write this down. When you compare yourself to other people, you are sending a direct message to your subconscious mind and your conscious mind that something is wrong with who you are, that you're not good enough, that you're less than. You are taking this comparison when you compare yourself to another person, right? And we're going to go into some examples. But when you do that, it's coming from a space of you not feeling like you're enough as you are. You not feeling good enough for what you are currently doing in life. You not feeling like you're where you're supposed to be. So you look at other people and you look at them and like, oh my God, their life is so perfect. They look better than me. They have a bigger house than me. They have a better job than me. They have more money than me. They have a better relationship than I do. And when you do that, you're looking at all these things that they have, and then you're sending a huge signal to yourself saying you're not good enough. It's not enough that you're happy. It's not enough that you love your house, even though it might not be a mansion. It's not enough. That's what's happening when we compare ourselves to other people. And that's why it's so freaking dangerous. Because you could be happy with where you're at in life, right? You guys have probably heard that quote before, comparison is the thief of joy. I notice this with myself all the time. I am so happy in my life. I have the dream relationship that I could never even dreamed of, right? Like I am so lucky and fortunate to be in the relationship I'm in. I live in Hawaii, right? My fiance and I quit our jobs. We up and moved to Hawaii, which is a freaking dream. I live in paradise, right? I don't have to work a corporate job anymore. I started my own business, right? And yet I still notice comparison to others, even though I'm so happy with where I'm at. I'm learning. Of course, there's things I want to improve on. I'm trying to, I have goals that I want to reach. But why does somebody else's success have to mean that my success isn't enough? Not even success, right? I notice for women, we compare ourselves and measure up to how women look around us, how our friends look, how, Instagram models look, how the Kardashians look. And when we look at them, if we don't look like they do, what we're doing is we're automatically making it wrong that we don't look like them. I know that I've worked so hard to love myself and love my body and love the journey that I've been on to get to a space where I can love and accept myself. And yet, if I go on Instagram and I still see Victoria's Secret models in bathing suits, or even my friends here, when we go to the beach, if they look better in a bathing suit than me, there's always going to be someone who you wish you looked like or wish you had what they had or whatnot. And we're going to get into why that's partly okay to have that desire. But why does it have to mean that you're so wrong? right? I know that I worked my butt off to heal my relationship with food. I worked my butt off to heal my relationship with my disordered eating and my body image issues and dysmorphia and all those things. So why am I going to look at the Kardashians and judge myself because my butt doesn't look like their butt? Why am I making myself wrong? What comparison does is it wipes away all your own happiness, all your own successes, all of your own wins that you get to celebrate because you see someone doing something that's different than what you're doing, and you automatically, it washes everything else away for you, right? And I want to share an example. So I have a really good friend who we started our businesses at the same time, and she's incredible. She's crushing it. She's incredible. She's amazing. She's doing all the things. I'm so proud of her. And I'm also really proud of myself. But I noticed recently, and this is why I wanted to do this conversation, because comparison hit me like a ton of bricks last week. And I was like, whoa, there's a lot of shit still unhealed in here. And I was so excited to tell her about my book. And I was so excited to tell her about all of the things that I have coming in my business. I like made this whole plan. I'm like really excited and proud of myself for where I'm at, right? And then I hear all the things that she's doing and I'm so proud of her, but immediately my excitement about my things that before we got on that conversation, I was like on cloud 9 that I was starting my book, that I had gotten a new client, that I have this new program coming out. Like I felt on top of the world. And then hearing that somebody else is doing something more than me, I've assigned that meaning to it. It automatically made me feel like my excitement or like my wins, the things that I'm excited about, the work that I'm doing felt like a freaking grain of sand on an entire beach, right? And that's all inside of me, and that's all inside of you. Because what did that friend do? She was on top of the world for me. She congratulated me. She was so excited. She was asking me questions. She was like working on like business plans with me and like trying to help and support and be like, how can we blast this up? Like the most supportive human in the world. And yet I couldn't even focus on my own excitement because I was letting myself make it mean that I was worthless, that I was garbage, that I'm a piece of shit because I'm not at her, like I'm not doing what she's doing in her business. And this does not have to just go for work life, right? Go back to the example of what you look like. I know for me, and I'm only sharing personal experiences because that's how it helps me relate to other people. Like when other people share personal experiences, I'm like, oh yeah, I do that too. I used to always worry about what I looked like, what the kind of clothes I was wearing, what my hair looked like, if my makeup looked like the other girls' makeup. And if it was a group situation, I would be constantly measuring up, constantly looking at their outfits and being like, oh my God, they look so cute in that crop top, but I could never wear a crop top. Or, oh my God, I cannot believe that I wore this sweater. It's so last season. It's so ugly. Oh my God, what are they going to think of me? Right? You measure up. And when we do that, go back to that first thing I said that you wrote down, hopefully, or you're trying to drill it into your brain. What is so wrong about you and you showing up for yourself in the ways that feel good to you that somebody else's, however they're doing it, can wash it right away? You're making yourself wrong. And you're attached, we're further taking it, you're attached to an identity that doesn't think it's worthy enough, that thinks something is wrong with it. And why? Where does this come from? Right? So that's what I want to talk about. I'm going to give you guys some actionable steps to work on here. But another thing that I've noticed, sorry, I have a lot of things I want to share. I tried to condense it. I have all these things that I'm trying to condense for you. I tried to put it into like a 5-step process, but I don't even think I can because there's just so many facets to this. And another thing I'd like to say is oftentimes, and this is going to be like one of your ways to pivot, we compare ourselves to others because we want what they have, but we don't feel like we can have it. That's the caveat, right? We look at their success. We look at how they look in a bathing suit. We look at the money that they have or the boyfriend they have or whatever, right? We look at it, and instead of being like, oh, hell yeah, I want that. Like I'm ready to, that's showing me what I deserve. That's showing me that it's possible for me. Instead of seeing that, we automatically think that we can't have it. It automatically means that we're the victim, that life just isn't that good for us. We could never make that much money. We could never be in a healthy relationship. We could never drive that kind of car or live in that kind of house. That's what's happening. And that's what we have to squash. That's your ego coming up. Because what you desire about other people's lives, your desires show you what's possible for you. When you see somebody out there crushing the game, living the life that you want to live, if you go down that rabbit hole of, must be nice, good for them, I'll never have it, that's what normally happens with the comparison, is because we're making ourselves wrong. We don't believe it's possible for us. So it's way easier to judge those people than to realize that it's showing you what's possible. Right? If you can start to look at these things, and we have to figure out where the comparison is coming from, first of all, okay? But if you can look at it and realize, wait a second, why do I think that's not possible for me? If this is something you actually want, not that you're making yourself wrong, it's more of like an exciting, like, damn, yeah, I'm really loving where my business is at, but I want to like explode it. So I have this best friend here who's doing it. So that should be showing me that it's possible for me too. Not comparing myself to her and thinking that my book will never go anywhere. My business is stupid. It's an ant and a mountain, and it's just like it's a piece of shit. How about you look at that as a big, like, it's just showing you what's possible for you. I don't know what word I was trying to say there. It's showing you the infinite possibilities. So instead of comparing yourself and thinking that it's not possible for you, thinking that you're broken, thinking that you're wrong, thinking that you're unworthy, what if it was looking at that girl in the bathing suit and be like, damn, she looks good. I do look good too. And I can look like that if I want to look like that, right? I don't want to go too far down that hole. Let's go back to the comparison. The point I was trying to make there is that if you desire something and right now you're a little jaded about it, like you're seeing other people who have it and you're judging them, you're comparing yourself to them, you're feeling like you're coming up short, just let it be something that it's showing you that it's possible for you, if that's something you desire. But let's rewind, because the point that I really want to make with comparison is that absolutely nothing is wrong with you. And if you keep thinking that something is wrong with you, that's where you're going to stay. If you keep thinking that you're wrong for wanting to wear, like, this is something that came up with my clients and my Glow Girls inside of my group long program. We've been working together for like 5 months now. They've signed on over and over again. They're like, anyway, I love my girls. So something they were saying is that they often notice that they're scared to wear the things or buy the things that they want to wear because they don't know what people are going to say about it. They would compare themselves to the other girls and what they're wearing. And so a lot of times they don't honor what they actually want to do because they're worried about what other people think. And they think that they're wrong for wanting that thing. Does that make sense? How many of you have wanted to buy something at the store, but you're like, oh, that's like not in right now. That's not the trend. That's not the latest style. Or how many of you have wanted to do something with your hair or get a tattoo or get a piercing, but you're like, oh, it's just like, it's taboo. It's not the thing to do. Who cares? Why are you making yourself wrong for something that you want to do? Right? I know for me, I have never been one to like feel good about clothes, hair, and makeup. Like, that's just never been my thing. Right? And not that it's a bad thing, but I struggled so much because I'm just a simple gal in terms of those things. Like, I'm happy with clothes that are simple and not going all out with those things. And if you do like to go all out, that's amazing. Honor that. Okay. But for me, I know that I struggled because I would just want to wear like, I don't want to say plain Jane clothes, but like, I just liked the simple stuff, right? That's what I felt most comfortable in. But I often felt like that wasn't good enough. That wearing a shirt like this wasn't good enough, or wearing, just having like a few things that I rotated through wasn't good enough, right? Why? Why are you making yourself wrong? What about doing what you want to do means you're unworthy, means you're not good enough, means that just because she has a wardrobe full of clothes because she likes shopping and she likes to do that kind of thing, or, her makeup always looks really good, why does it have to mean that you're less than? Do you see what's happening? Instead of looking at these other people and just letting them do what's best for them, we are looking at them and making it mean that we're wrong. It has nothing to do with that other person. It has everything to do with you. Always. So the point of this training is I want you guys to start to love and accept yourself and gain that confidence so strongly that it doesn't matter what other people are doing. It doesn't matter what she's wearing to the party. It doesn't matter how she looks in a bathing suit. It doesn't matter how her business is doing. It doesn't matter that she just got engaged or that she just made $1 million or that she, I don't know, is living in her or bought her car. Like, guys, it doesn't matter. Stay in your own lane. And I want you guys to write that down too. I have all these tips, but they're not going to go in an order. One of the tips is stay in your lane. We'll come back to that. I want to put it in an order. So the first thing, and thank you guys for bearing with me. I'm very scatterbrained because I have a lot that I want to say. So the first step I have in comparison, and this is going to take practice. It's not like you're going to watch this training and all of a sudden you're going to go out into the world when you used to compare yourself to everything and be like, I'm the fucking shit. I would love that for you, but it's going to take practice. You might feel lit up after this training, but then tomorrow somebody's going to say something and you're going to be like, oh my God, I'm so less than because I'm not going on an all-exclusive vacation to Europe, all paid with, blah, 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 blah. It will hit you different times. It's situational. I notice for me at least. So the first thing that I want you to start practicing, and this is the basis of all of my work, is to start to love and accept yourself and fill your own cup up first. Because at the core of what's going on here is we don't think that we're enough. You think that something is wrong with you. That's why you're comparing yourself to other people. You think that you're less than. You think that you're unworthy. You're making yourself wrong. So start to make yourself right. Every single decision you make, pause and say, is this what I want to do, or am I doing this because I'm hoping to fit in? Start to honor yourself. Start to build up that confidence. Start to love and accept yourself. And this is going to look different for everybody. Everybody's work is differently. That's why I love doing one-on-one client work, because everybody is different. You might like positive affirmations. You might like journaling. You might like meditations. You might like embodiment work. Everybody is different, but take one of those things I said and just start to do it. And when I say start to show up for yourself, so many people are going to be like, well, I just noticed this with my clients. Everybody's always like, well, I don't know how. What do you mean show up for myself? Because for so long, you haven't. You've put other people above yourself, and don't judge yourself, okay? It is what it is. But moving forward, what do you need to do to start honoring you? Waking up 10 minutes extra in the morning to be able to sit down and journal, or just sit in silence. If you've got kids and you need just like peace, right? Or maybe you stop for a cup of coffee on the way to work and drink it in your car before you go into a busy office. Or maybe you book yourself a massage, or you get your nails done, or whatever it looks like for you. Start to take care of yourself. Start to show up for yourself. Once you start to do this over time, that becomes more of your default. And when you're showing up for yourself so much, you stop focusing on the external as much, because you're the priority. Making yourself happy, loving yourself, showing up for you becomes the priority versus looking at how everybody else is doing everything. We do that because we don't trust ourselves, because we don't know what we want, because for so long we've put ourselves at the bottom. Start to show up, okay? So that's tip number 1. Let's get into the tips. Tip number 1, start to show up for yourself. Practice self-love daily. Practice everything that you need to do to realize that you're the main character. I'm talking Beyonce level confidence here. That's what I want for you, okay? That's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to start to bring awareness to these thoughts, okay? If you guys have been following me for a while, if you've, watched some of my trainings or been in my programs, the number 1 tip that I have when it comes to mindset, changing your life, even self-love, it comes down to this. You need to start to watch the thoughts that are coming up. It's called witness consciousness. You are not your thoughts. You think that you are because you're so heavily identified with them. You've created an entire personality. You've attached yourself to an identity around these thoughts, but you're not the thoughts. You get to choose what thought you believe. So I want you to think about right now, these are the thoughts that are coming into your awareness, these pens, okay? I'm not good enough. That thought comes up from your subconscious, right? And these beliefs are deeply ingrained, but they manifest as thoughts and behaviors and habits, etc. But you get to choose. So while you do need to do the reprogramming work to get to the root of where these thoughts are coming from, right now in the present moment, after watching this training, you can start to watch the thoughts. That's it. So this is the thought. I'm not good enough. It's coming up. Instead of attaching to it, making it mean something about you, making it mean that you're not enough, making it mean that you're wrong, making it mean that your sweater is ugly and she looks way cuter in a dress than you do, and blah, 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 all that mind chatter. What if you just watched that thought and was like, oh, hey, there's an unworthy thought coming up. Noted. and just let it go. And then the next thought that comes up, oh my God, I can't believe you just texted him. What if he doesn't text you back? You're such a piece of shit. That's so embarrassing. Oh my God. What if when that thought came up, you just said, another thought that's trying to make me feel like shit, and just let it go? And what if you just kept doing it for all the thoughts that started to come across your awareness, right? Oh geez, now I'm dropping shit. What if you just started to watch these things instead of automatically taking these thoughts that are coming up, holding on to them, latching on, making them mean something about you? What if you just watched them? Okay? Witness consciousness, paying attention to these thoughts, is the biggest game changer that you can do, because until you bring awareness to them, you're just operating on autopilot. You're not even aware of where they're coming from. So the next step to this, so we're still in step number 2, practicing that witness consciousness, is just start to get curious. Say, where is that thought coming from? Notice it situationally. Do you notice these comparison thoughts coming up when you're alone? Do you notice it when you're scrolling on social media? Do you notice when you're in a group setting? Do you notice when you're talking to a certain person? What is triggering these thoughts to come up? I know social media is a huge trigger for me. Scrolling, seeing all these perfect influencers and their perfect families, and I'm like, wow, I'm such garbage. What? Garbage thought coming up. Let it go. Okay? Let it fly away. So the second step is to just ask, okay, why do I feel like garbage? Why am I making myself wrong that I don't have $1 million home yet? Why am I making myself wrong that, why am I discounting the fact that I live in freaking Hawaii, and just because I don't look like their life, I don't look like they're perfect, why does it mean that my happiness isn't enough, right? Why are you making it mean something about you? Just ask yourself that question. Is it because when you were a little kid, you had a best friend that everything just worked out for her and she was amazing, and you just had this instilled in you since you were young? Or maybe your parents always compared themselves to other people. There's always a condition. We've been programmed to be this way. Okay, here's the other thing. There's so many layers. I got to slow down, or I got to stop this soon. Oh shoot, now I forgot what I was saying. Oh, comparison is a learned behavior. You don't come onto this planet comparing yourself to the other babies in the hospital. You don't, as a toddler, compare yourself to the families that are at daycare. When you're that young, you don't have that awareness yet. It's a learned behavior. You pick it up from painful childhood experiences, what was modeled to you from your caregivers. It's a learned behavior. So if you can understand that you can learn to compare yourself to others, can't you also learn to stop comparing yourself to others? That's how it works. It's a learned behavior. So step number 2, watch those thoughts. Don't be scared of them. Ask them why, ask them where they're coming from, and just talk to them, right? Don't think about, like, when it comes up, oh my God, red alert, I can't have this thought. It's making me feel unworthy. Push, push, push. Resistance is the worst thing you can do. Not the worst thing. Just don't do it. Let it sit there. Just let it be. Don't identify with it. Don't make it mean something about you. Just say, hey, where did you come from? Why are you trying to make me feel like shit right now? I'm happy. We're happy. Just talk to it, okay? The third step here is to soften those stories, right? So now we're getting curious. We're asking the why, where these thoughts are coming from. So look at that and say, okay, why do you feel this? How can we soften you? And when I say soften, I mean take its power away. So in the previous step, we were asking why. So say it's because you had a childhood experience where, something traumatic happened. Your family lost a ton of money. You never had enough. You watched your parents get shamed, something along those lines, right? So that's a deeply ingrained wound. That's making you feel less than. That's making you feel like you'll never be enough. Or you watched your mom always struggle to compare herself to the other moms, and she never felt like enough. So that's what was modeled for you. Well, how can you look at it and say, wait a second, that's a program. That is a condition. That is not me. That's a learned behavior that happened in my childhood. And yes, it sucked. It didn't feel good, but I get to choose if I listen to it or not. This doesn't feel good. So why am I still attaching to it? We're playing out patterns that are from our childhood. And until you take a step back and distance yourself from that pattern, you're always going to attach to it. So start to soften it. Start to take its power away. Start to realize, hey, that's my parents' old programming. That's not mine. Okay, you're taking some of its power away. And that was a condition. I was a little kid. It hurt to get made fun of, but it doesn't hurt anymore. So that's taking more of its power away. And eventually that thought becomes, I can't even show you, that thought becomes very distant from you. It's not as strong. It's not as in your face because you're softening it, okay? So take its power away. That's number 3. Number 4, is to allow these things instead of triggering you, and this will take work. These first 3 steps are plenty. Maybe I should actually stop them here. I'm going to stop with those first 3 steps because showing up for yourself is the best thing that you can start to do. And until you do that, these other steps don't really play as much of a role because they don't matter if you're still denying who you are, if you're still judging yourself, if you're still not loving and accepting yourself, if you're still comparing yourself, it's hard to do anything else. So start to show up for you. Stop making yourself wrong. Stop making it mean. Here's a question you can ask yourself when you're comparing yourself, when you don't love yourself, when somebody says something that you think they're making fun of you or whatever. Ask yourself, what am I making this mean about me? What am I making it mean? What am I making it mean that I bought this bathing suit and just because it isn't as expensive as her bathing suit, why does it mean that I'm less than? Why does it mean that I'm broken? Why does it mean that just because that influencer has a perfect family, why does it mean that my life is less than? Ask yourself that question all the time. And if you can do that and you can start to soften things, that's when everything will shift for you, right? We have to break away from this identity that thinks they're broken, that thinks everything that they're doing is the wrong way. Stay in your lane. That's what I want to end with, guys, is how can you stay in your own lane? How can you continue to show up for you? How can you celebrate your wins? Here's another one that goes in like the self-love practice. I know I mentioned these quickly earlier. Focus on gratitude and celebrate your wins. Instead of focusing on your downfalls, which is what most of us do, how can you instead focus on all the things you're proud of yourself for? Damn, I got my workout in today and I'm really proud of myself for that. Or, man, I had a really good conversation with my partner and we've been fighting a lot, so it actually felt good and I'm really proud of us for showing up. Or I chose this instead of this, or whatever you're doing, stay in your own lane. Every single person on this planet is going through their own shit. Here's another tip if you do struggle with comparison in terms of like how it can help you make you feel better a little bit, how it can maybe make you feel better. I'm stumbling with words lately. Realize that every single person is also going through their own shit. That girl that you think is perfect, she always has the cutest clothes, she always looks good, and she always, she posts the prettiest pictures on Instagram, guaranteed she is going through so much shit up here. To post that perfect of a feed, she has a perfection syndrome, right? She needs to be perfect. She needs that validation. And maybe she doesn't. This is a generalization. But for the most part, every single person is going through their own shit. And here's the other thing. They're so focused on themselves. So I used to struggle when it came to comparison, really struggling what other people would think of me. People are so concerned and so consumed by their own comparison, by their own lack of confidence, by their own self-doubt, by their own feelings of being wrong. Everybody is so in their own head that they don't have the time to look at you and judge you. Nobody cares. And if they do, then they're so in their ego that it doesn't matter. The only person that matters is what you think about yourself. And that's the truth, right? And if you're still worried about what other people are thinking, ask yourself why. Why does it matter if she's making fun of you? Why does it matter if he's judging you? Why? What part of you is seeking external validation so strongly that you can't brush those things off? Why does their opinion matter so much that you can't be yourself? Ask yourself why. Where is that coming from? What unhealed wound? So to wrap all that up, just get curious as to where these things are coming from, but show up for yourself. This is such a 3D thing, comparison, and I'm not trying to discount it because it sucks, and I struggle with it all the time. But what if instead you poured all of your energy into remembering your magic and your power and your limitlessness and all of the things that you do have going for you and all the things that you're grateful for and all the things that you're proud of yourself for? What energy feels better when I'm saying those things, right? The first one, where we focus on ourselves. That feels so much better. So stay in your lane. I want you to write that down. Stay in your lane, show up for you, do the things that make you feel good. Stop denying yourself. Stop making yourself wrong. Stop letting these thoughts control everything about you, okay? I got to slow it down. It's already been 30 minutes. I got to end this. If you guys are looking for support, I have 2 spots left for one-on-one client work. This is a 3-month-long coaching program. We go deep into those blocks that I was talking about before, into those childhood experiences. You get that one-on-one support to work through these things, and then actual actionable steps to man, I had to slow down to start to show up for yourself. If you're interested in one-on-one work, message me. We'll see if it's a good fit. I do have some group programs coming up that'll be another option too if you like the group style. But just let me know what you guys need. I'm here for you. Once again, this 90-day challenge, we still got a lot of time left together. So whatever I can do to support you. If you have questions after watching this training, if you want something to be a little more talked on, just let me know. I'm here for you. I see you. I love you. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Stay in your own lane. You're perfect. You're worthy just as you are. Nothing is wrong with you. You're not broken and you deserve to be happy. Okay. Mwah. Bye, guys.